Dear Bob, this special video is made especially for you. I'm Tzipi Gur, the founder and executive director of Classrooms Without Borders. I am so thankful to you for your commitment, advice, and support to CWB, and for being my personal good friend. People may know you as funny, warm, smart, but I don't know if they know what a deep thinker you are. You joined our board 7 years ago, and from the beginning, you wanted to learn. You wanted to know your story, and you started studying Jewish history, Judaic. You went on the study seminar to Poland. You wanted to see the land that Moses didn't get to go to, and Anna Frank didn't live to see. This is a very difficult time in Jewish history and American history. And you challenge us every day to aim high and support educators with programs and skills and wonderful experiences that are life-changing for them. Thank you for helping us fight injustice, hate, anti-Semitism, and discrimination by educating educators. I want to wish you and Tony many healthy, happy years to come. Thank you. What would Bob take with him to a desert island? A horse. What is Bob's favorite hangout? I would say a kosher deli, pastrami, having a good sandwich. Recall a unique, memorable experience you had with Bob. I will never forget the Children's Village experience where Bob was sitting in this dining room table, and all the kids wanted to sit next to him and hear his stories. And everybody was fighting who will sit next to him and hear him. Also the surprise of the van that he was driving to the village, and the people really didn't know that it's a contribution from him and his friends. I'll never forget celebrating Israel's 70th with Bob and Tony and some other friends. This was the most meaningful experience for me, I hope for them, to be there where the president was on Mount Herzl and celebrate the birthday. I don't know if people really know that he's an amazing diver and he dives in very strange places, but he did drive with somebody from the Navy, Israeli Navy, and he was good. That's it.
I am Robert Glimsher, and I am chairman of the board of Classrooms Without Borders. And I have been friends with Bob for, 20 plus years through Young Presidents Organization. That's where I first met Bob. What is Bob's most notable quality? Bob's got an amazing heart. He's got a good neshama, as I would say. And he doesn't even realize how good he is and how caring he is. And it's been great for me to see, with our involvement in CWB, how he's grown and understanding of his Judaism and his warmth and heart that he has. What is Bob's favorite hangout? I'm not sure what his favorite hangout is, but my favorite hangout with Bob is lunch at the Capitol Grill. So it might not make it on here, but that's it. Who would Bob take with him to a desert island? I think he would take a lot of fish so he could swim with them while he's scubaing all around that island and checking everything out. What do you love most about Bob? I think Bob's a good person, and in this world there are givers and there are takers, and Bob's a giver, and that's the type of people I like to be associated with. What is Bob's superpower or hidden talent? I think it must be something to do with underwater adventures. You know, he is the Superman of scuba diving, and he loves it, and I'm sure he has a cape when he's down there. I'm sure of it. Bob, we could not have picked a better honoree this year than you. You have been such a special friend of Classrooms Without Borders and everything we do. From getting vans at the Children's Village, when you see a need, you jump on it. And your caring and your involvement has been incredible. You made a difference. And I personally want to thank you for all you've done, because in life, we're supposed to do tikkun olam and make a difference and repair the world. And you, involving what you've done with us and so many other organizations, are repairing our world. Thank you.
Bob, I was trying to think about what I would say to describe you as a person, as a leader, as a human being. And there's lots of words. I think I've talked about you as being gregarious and friendly, which you are. But I think as I've talked to you more and more, the adjective I get is inquisitive. You want to know, you want to understand more. You ask tough questions, you ask deep questions. And I think that's why you've been so inspired by the work of Classrooms Without Borders, because it uses education to try to affect our next generations. Thank you for being so inquisitive. Keep asking those great questions. And thank you for being who you are and for giving back to this community.
Hello, my name is Ken Gormley, and it's my privilege to serve as the 13th president of Duquesne University. We're honored to be part of this special Difference Maker Award program, recognizing a true difference maker, Bob Mallet. Bob has been a great friend to Duquesne University and to me personally for many years. He currently serves on our board of directors. Bob has literally helped to re-envision our School of Business, from which his dad, Lou Mallet, graduated in 1940. Bob's dad was the first in his Russian immigrant family to attend college, and while he was a student here, he launched the Home Kitchen Company, literally out of his mother's kitchen. After graduation, Lou changed the name to Mallet and Company, which went on to become a multi-million-dollar internationally successful business. Bob went away to college, but after his dad's sudden death, he came back to Pittsburgh in the late 60s to help run the family business. And then after his mom passed, Bob took over as president and CEO of Mallet and Company, taking the business to unprecedented new heights. He also took over the farm his dad built on top of a mountain in Somerset. Today, he and his wife, Tony, continue to ride and train horses there. In fact, Bob has won 13 blue ribbons, including the World's Grand Championship in the pleasure driving division at the prestigious Kentucky State Fair as driver of the legendary horse, Flash Gordon. I can tell you, Bob has dressed me up like a cowboy and made me ride a couple of these horses up there. My saddle still hurts from that experience, Bob. But over time, I can tell you, Bob has become more and more involved with our business school, engaging regularly with students in classes, presentations, and competitions. He was one of the first major donors to help transform our business school for a new era. So we're immensely grateful to Bob for his generosity, his leadership and friendship, and for his commitment to changing our students' lives for the better. We're also deeply thankful for his continued commitment in sending Duquesne faculty members and students on life-changing educational trips to Poland with the fabulous Classrooms Without Borders program, an experience of a lifetime. Here, they're joined by a Holocaust survivor and learn so much about Jewish history and the Holocaust as they travel throughout the country, where they're also exposed to important messages of hope, resilience, tolerance, and acceptance. Bob truly exemplifies the bigger goals that we aspire to achieve at Duquesne University. There is truly nobody more deserving of this special Difference Maker Award than our great friend, Bob Mallet.
Hi, I'm Estelle Comey. I am on the board of Classrooms Without Borders, and I am honored to serve with Bob Mallet as one of our fellow board members. What is Bob's superpower or hidden talent? Well, that's easy. Bob is actually one of the most valuable members of our board that we have. He, first of all, is a dedicated Classrooms board member, and also he has a real passion for the work that we do. During the pandemic, when we had to call off our trips, Bob was the one that kept reminding us that the mission of CWB was still right up front and important, and that we had to resume those trips as quickly as possible. And that as important as the virtual meetings that we had were, there was nothing that didn't compare to the trips that we took, and he was constantly urging us to resume them. What is Bob's favorite hangout? I have absolutely no idea, but let me just say that unlike most of the people that are on this video, I've known Bob Mallet since the time that he was a kid. He was, in fact, really Bobby Mallet. And his family lived about half a block away from our family on Beechwood Boulevard. He had 3 older sisters. One of them was Ann Mallet, who was my sister Susan's best friend in grade school. And so Ann spent a lot of time at our house. And we always loved going to the Mallets, first of all, because they were a wonderful family, and secondly, because they were the only family in the community that has a swimming pool. So they had great parties there. Bobby, on the other hand, was nothing but a troublemaker. He had 3 older sisters who adored him, and he didn't want to give them the time of day. So we teased him a lot. He grew up, much to all of our surprise, to be a real person and a guy who was responsible and bright. His father died when Bobby was fairly young. I'd say maybe right out of college or something like that. And he had been working at the family business, Mallet and Company, from the time that he was young. But he and his mother, who was a force to be reckoned with, Mrs. Mallet was absolutely an amazing person and a handsome woman. And she was part of the business and ran it until Bobby took it over. And Bob, took it over. And he made a real enterprise out of it. Not that it wasn't when his father and mother were running it, but he really ratcheted it up to the next level. And let me just add at that point that he could have sat back on his laurels and done nothing. He was a successful businessman. And he and Tony were dedicated to their farm where they raised horses. But he had a real passion, not only for animals, and he was a kind and good keeper of the horses, but he felt that way about people as well. He had a real understanding of those who were less privileged, although he never had a background like that. And he's dedicated his resources to those kinds of animals and persons. What is Bob's most notable quality? I would say his most notable quality is his compassion. He has a real understanding for those less privileged, but also his introduction to his dedication to the causes of the Jewish people, the Pittsburgh Jewish community, and the world Jewish community has really been exemplary. His family was always Jewish, and they were identified as such, but they weren't religious. And I think that Bob has come to that in his adulthood and has really dedicated himself and his resources to those kinds of community and Jewish community needs. He and Tony have done an amazing job with making themselves useful in the community, and I think everybody has a huge amount of respect for what he's done. What was the most memorable trip you have taken with Bob? I haven't taken no trips with Bob, which I'm proud to say. However, I spent lots of time with him when he was a kid and got a big kick out of him. As I said, I think we were all surprised at the notable way he's emerged into adulthood, not only in business, but also in his work in the Jewish community with horses and with universities. He's really contributed an enormous amount in terms of resources and dedication to the university's system here in the Pittsburgh area. I'm just proud to be a friend and to work with him.
I am C.J. Rao, a longtime friend of Robert Ian Mallet. We started off in second grade, went on to junior high, high school, and the same college together. We've known each other forever. And our families, when we were 10 years old, were neighbors in a vacation home setting in the mountains of Pennsylvania, although Bob's was a horse farm. And I remember 12 years old walking through the beautiful forest of Little Laurel Highlands to get to Bob's farm. And I remember watching his father, just bigger than life at that time, riding these amazing creatures indoors in this enormous barn. Year-round they could train indoors. And then seeing Bob 30, 40 years later doing the same thing, a very unique family tradition. We've had so many experiences together, but I'd like to focus on the fact that we were friends talking, confidant for their whole lives, the good things and the bad things that happened. And it's truly made me a better person. I consider it a blessing. So on this wonderful occasion, congratulations, Bob. I don't know anybody that deserves something more like this than you. Mazel tov. Love you.
Hi, my name is John Bersati. I'm the owner of Common Plea Catering and at one time Common Plea Restaurant. And Bob and I go back many, many years. In fact, our fathers were business vendors together. My father started a bakery business after the war, and Bob's father sold him products to make sweet goods and breads. So I met Bob a long time ago. We were very, very young and really never were socially or friendly, but we knew each other, and from time to time I would run into Bob and he'd come down to the restaurant and we would talk about his father and my father and the struggles in the baking business and baking supply business. So I go back probably 60, 65 years with Bob, and became again acquainted with him. One day I got a call and he said, we're forming a group in the YPO we're going to have a new forum and we want you to be a member. And I had been relatively active in another forum, but I said, that's great, I'd love to do it. And I went to a meeting and met the forum members and became a forum member with Bob. And after that, we were together monthly for 20, 25 years and went on retreats together, socialized together, and we had a lot of wonderful memories of our parents and memories of things we did together in the forum. Okay, now I'm going to pick up a question. I hope it's an easy one. Recall a unique, memorable experience you had with Bob. Well, I think probably several unique issues were we'd always go to retreats with our forum group, and Bob was an avid scuba diver. And he did things that I would always say, are you sure? Because he would put on his equipment and go off on his own, or they'd go out with another one of the groups and they'd take a small boat and be way out. You could hardly see them from the beach. And he was always an adventurer. And come back and we would have discussions about all the trips he would take all over the world in many unique places. And really, you know, the kind of things you see on Discovery America or National Geographic. You know, he'd be on a camel or, you know, be hunting or fishing somewhere in the wilds and staying in tents on the beaches. It was really exciting to hear all the experiences he had. And these are things that I think most of us are not used to hearing or seeing with somebody so close that we had monthly meetings and broke bread with on a regular basis. What is Bob's superpower or hidden talent? I think to some degree he was always very informed of current events, very informed of financial things, ran his business with vendors and product from all over the world. Spent many times discussing how he was in the Far East and sourcing raw material for his business. And I think he had a really good touch with being in touch with things that were going on internationally and how they affected our country, especially revolving consumer products and baked goods, to be specific. What is the most memorable trip you have taken with Bob? I don't know if it was a trip so much, but we used to spend some time at Bob's farm that he had in Ligonier. And I think one of the great times we had is I would go up and be the cook for this group, and I'd go up early and we'd spend some time with him, and he was so excited when he got Elizabeth, his fancy little donkey, that he was so in love with, and really I think superseded his love for the horses he and Tony had. But I spent some time with him before the other people would come up, and we just enjoyed company, and I enjoyed seeing him, especially when he started his new home, which was supposed to be a 6-month to a year project, and I think it ended up being about 2 years. But he built a beautiful home, and his love for the outdoors and things, you know, of nature always were brought home when we went to see him up in Ligonier. Who would Bob take with him to a deserted island? I'm not sure anybody, because some of the places he went and discussed, most people I know, including Tony, I don't think would want to have anything to do with the deserted island, because he would probably have a knapsack with one of those first aid kits, a small first aid kit, one of those little knives that did everything, and that's about it. And he was, you know, really an outdoorsman to the nth degree, where he enjoyed roughing it and not having the creature comforts that most of us would probably enjoy on any kind of trip. So I think that would be part of his aura, that nobody would be on that trip with him.
Bob Mallet. What 2 words come to my mind when I think about Bob Mallet? A mensch, in the true sense of the word. Bob is smart, but more than that, he's got a huge heart. He doesn't think just about himself. He thinks about community, about society at large. And it's in my honor and privilege to get to know Bob and to call him a friend.
Hello, I'm Ron Leibowitz, president of Brandeis University, and I want to congratulate our friend, Bob Mallet, for the award he's receiving tonight from Classrooms Without Borders. I think Bob has made his imprint on so many organizations. Most recently here at Brandeis, we've gotten to know Bob over the course of the last 3 years, and I can see why he's won this award this evening. He truly is a person who wants to make a difference in the world and see others do well by society. I've seen Bob in action now as a member of the board of directors of our International Business School, but I think I've learned most about Bob from our one-on-one conversations. And through those conversations, I see an incredibly giving individual, someone who has incredible humanity and really does want to do good for others. So congratulations, Bob. We here at Brandeis really congratulate you for all you do, not only for Classrooms Without Borders, but for all the organizations and for humankind. Congratulations.
Bob, as a historian, I'm so grateful for the opportunity to commit to the public record all the things I appreciate about you. You are unwaveringly generous to Classrooms Without Borders. We couldn't do it without you. You are a great steward in the fight against anti-Semitism. I'm so glad to have you as a partner in this work. And lastly, the way you look out for me as I drove into the work of opening minds and hearts has meant so much to me. You're a mensch of the first class, Bob Mallet, and you deserve every good thing coming to you.
Hi, I'm Toni Mallet. I'm Bob's wife of 17 years, and I'm here to support anything he tries to do, so let's get started. What is Bob's superpower or hidden talent? Bob's superpower is probably his gift of conversation. He is able to talk to anybody about anything and get them interested in whatever he's interested in. His hidden talent is probably more away from business. It's our farm, it's our horses, it's our passion of taking care of them. So that's his talent. Okay, Bob's favorite activity, of course, would be the horses, riding in the woods, and cleaning up the farm. We've been at it for 20 years since I've been around trying to get everything a little fancier and a little cleaner, and he enjoys being a part of that and doing a lot of the work. Who would Bob take with him to a deserted island? Well, I assume me, because he can't stand to be without me. We're a good pair, so we would enjoy being together, and what he can't figure out, I can, and we are opposites that have attracted, so we could both handle the desert island. A unique and memorable experience with Bob. Probably when we went to Israel with Sippy, 5 years ago. There was so much that we saw and did, and in Bob's life, I don't know that he was really raised being of the Jewish faith, so it brought everything a little more to light and to realize what the Jewish people live with every day, because as a young child, he went to Shadyside Academy. So that was a Catholic school, and so they would say, well, what religion are we? And so he finally went home one day and he said, Dad, everybody's talking about their religion. What religion are we? And he goes, your horse religion. You go to horse shows every weekend, and so since he was a young boy, he has been involved with the horses, except right after his father passed away, he took a hiatus for about, 15 years, and then got back in it. And that's how Bob and I met, is through a riding clinic in Fulton, Missouri, because I'm from California and he's from Pennsylvania, so you might as well meet in the middle of the country. The most memorable trip that the two of us have taken, we love safari. So we have been on several safaris, and it's just, because we're animal people, we absolutely enjoy it. In fact, we're leaving again the middle of March for 2 weeks to go to Botswana. So probably Africa in the various areas of checking out animals. What is Bob most notable for? Probably Mallet and Company. He's worked incredibly hard. He went to work just out of college, worked with his mother for 12 years, went to Harvard OPM to get more experience, and then he took over as president of Mallet and Company and grew it fourfold. So I would say that his, and that's what's giving him the opportunity today to have the finances to be more entrepreneurial and support different organizations. Bob's favorite hangout. Well, this is so easy. The barn. If he has his druthers, he would rather be in the barn messing around with something there. And the second base would be in the shop making something or fixing something. So he really enjoys hanging out at the farm and in the barn. What do I love most about Bob? His generosity, his capability of being sharing and caring. Just his love of life and humor. He is a character in most aspects. He's always got something, funny story that he has been somewhere, done something, down to, crummy little places in China where he was sleeping on a piece of plywood to get things taken care of, to get a product in line for Mallet and Company. So just his sweet generosity and caring for people. I think we've got them all.
My name is Mary Nicholson. I had the pleasure of working with Bob Mallet, the owner of Mallet and Company, for 40 years. I was hired in April of 1978. Bob was very welcoming as the owner of the company. He would actually take each new employee, spend quite a bit of time with them to let them know a little bit of background about his father's being the founder of the company, very proud of the company, and he made you feel like you were part of a team. And I actually felt that way for all 40 years, and that was because of Bob. So that was pretty nice experience for me. Asking who Bob would take with him on a desert island, well, that's a no-brainer. It would be Tony. Tony and Bob are a very strong couple, and they really complement each other. So yes, it'd definitely be Tony. Bob's favorite hangout. Well, that's also easy. The barn with the horses. And I just put Tony second to the horses, but but she would understand that. Okay, what's Bob's superpower or hidden talent? I think the fact that he's so unpretentious. He treats everybody, no matter which walk of life they're in, the same. He's very even-keeled. The waitress who would be serving him dinner, he would show the same amount of respect as the master chef who just prepared a superior meal. I mean, I always thought that was really something for Bob, because he could actually be very showy. And based on his generosity, which everybody knows about, I would hope, he could be showy. You would almost expect that, but that's not Bob. He's not like that at all. I always admired that about Bob. Actually, okay, notable quality, I think it's all the same. Bob just being Bob. I mean, just a humble guy who really is just so generous. I keep using the word generous because it fits. What I love most about Bob, here I go again. He's just generous and just a good human being. And what more can you say if somebody's a good human being, right? Okay, a memorable experience with Bob. This is funny. We had a girl at the office. We'll call her Sally. Sally had a temper. She was a very good employee, but she had a short fuse. Well, it was April Fool's, and Bob came out of his office, and he said, now I have a serious conversation I have to have with everyone. It's become too costly to run the company in the States. We have to move the company to South America. So we all chuckled a little bit, and he went back in his office, and we continued to work. And Sally proceeds to tell us that this is great timing because she was tired of her husband. So she was pretty much packing his bag. So we didn't know what to say. The girls and I, we were kind of, like I said, she had a short fuse. So I went into Bob's office, and I said, hey, Bob, you better tell Sally we're not going to South America. And he said, I'm not telling her. And I said, well, I'm not telling her. Nobody else was to tell her. So all day long, I would go into Bob's office and we'd laugh back and forth. I'm not telling her. You tell her. No, I'm telling her. You tell her. So I realized before she went home, I had to tell her. Bob wasn't going to do it because she really was going to have her husband's bag packed and he was going to be going out the door that night. So when I told her, she was furious. Bob, of course, I went to Bob and told him that I told her, and we just cracked up because her poor husband. But yeah, she showed up the next day, and as far as I know, nothing was said that night, but I love that story. You didn't get much over on Bob. No. He was low key, but he definitely knew what was going on. Oh, most definitely. He was always aware. Yeah. It was a very close company. And there weren't a whole lot of employees. We did a lot of, it was a manufacturing company. Didn't take a lot of people to run it, but the few that were there, I mean, we were really, really close-knit, and he worked really well with each department. And Bob wasn't a micromanager, which I thought that was awesome. I mean, nobody wants to be told what to do when. And Bob would just say, his famous line to me was, just do it. So one day I said, you know what, Bob, you don't have to say just do it, I will do it.
I'm Jim Rudolph. It's a real pleasure to be able to do this and an honor for a guy that I've known for many, many years. I met Bob, I actually knew his mother before I met him. I don't remember the year, but I went to Israel with her and heard about her business and heard about her son. And then I had the opportunity, fortunately, to be able to solicit Bob for United Jewish Federation. So that's where I met Bob a long time ago. And then I met Bob. I was fortunate, again, to be a part of a forum, which is part of YPO. He was in it. It's unfortunate I was only in it for a few years because I bought a business and I had to travel. But I remember I went on 1 or 2 retreats with him, but the one trip that I remember very well, which I really got to learn from him, was we went to Israel, now it's 5 years ago, we went to Israel for the 70th anniversary of Israel. It was a memorial event. It was a very heartwarming, exciting, warmth event. We got to spend time together, got to know him better. We spent time at the Children's Village. That was a long-lasting relationship because from that, we together have really supported the village by now buying 2 vehicles for him. And Bob was always there as a mensch. I think that's what I would say about Bob. He's a mensch. He's just a very good, solid individual, very charitable, very personable, and very caring. He has a big heart. What's occurring today in Israel reminds me of, again, 5 years ago, when Bob and I, our spouses, we had an opportunity with Sippy to go to Gaza. Who would ever think that we would be in the situation we're in today? But how it was a very emotional trip to be on the border and to see that fancy fence. And we got to meet with a woman who had an art store at the border. And it was just, it's one of those experiences that you'll never forget who you were with and what you saw. So it was, again, those experiences that I've had with him. So one of the thoughts that I have is what we've been asked to talk about is what's Bob's favorite place? There's a lot of restaurants in town, right? But Bob's favorite place is a deli called Smallman Street Deli that I hear he's there all the time whenever he's in town, whenever he comes into Pittsburgh from Ligonier. He just loves those corned beef sandwiches. What's Bob's most notable quality? You go through life meeting people, and a number of people leave an impression on you. And Bob Mallet has left the impression on me, as I said earlier, and I'll say it again, he's just a real mensch. He has a warm heart, he's very charitable, and he most importantly, he likes to give. And I've learned this a long time ago. The more you give, the more you get. And Bob Mallet is number 1 there. He is a very big giver. I know he's involved with Duquesne University. He's involved with Brandeis. He really is enjoying these experiences. And at the end of the day, he's just a very charitable, kind, warm individual, making a difference in this world and making it better for people.
Tony and Bob, thank you for everything you do for classrooms. Bob, your leadership, interest, and financial support for classrooms is unparalleled. All the best. Congratulations.
My name is Brian Glazier, and Bob Mallet is my stepfather.
My name's Olivia, and Babu, or Bob, is my grandpa.
Over the years, what I love most about Bob is how he treats my mother.
I like his personality.
What about his personality do you like?
He's fun and smart.
Oh, I would have to say Bob's favorite hangout is probably up at the farm in the barn, hanging out with the horses.
I think his favorite hangout is in the shop with all the heavy machinery.
What does he do with the heavy machinery?
He I don't know. Normally there's just like tractors and stuff. He likes those. Usually he uses them for work around the farm.
I think his generosity is probably his most notable quality.
Same.
How is he generous?
So he's always been helpful to organizations, to us as a family. So we appreciate that from him a lot.
How is he generous to you?
Me? Oh. He always makes sure I'm included, and he gives me a lot of fun things.
What?
Like horse riding lessons and stuff like that.
That's pretty fun. What is Bob's superpower or hidden talent?
Probably how well he can handle the horses.
I think his hidden talent is being a good grandfather.
Well, maybe that's not so hidden. Is he like a superhero, do you think, Olivia?
Yeah.
And tell us what you call him and why you call him that.
Babu, because it's Swahili for grandpa.
Try to tell us a really memorable or unusual experience that you might have had with Bob or with Babu.
Probably when we still lived in Arizona, we have this thing called a pouch couch. And you like fill it up with air, and it's like you get stuck in it sometimes. But he slid down the stairs in it. So that was funny.
That was something that was very memorable. We all took trips down the stairs, put the helmet on, and had fun. We had a nice staircase in Arizona, so it was enjoyable. It was comical.
Who would Bob take to a desert island, or what would he take to a desert island?
Well, I would think he would take my mother to the desert island, just for the company, for sure.
Same.
What's your favorite game to play with your grandpa?
I don't know. Normally we just like hang out around the barn, play with the cat, or clean the horse stalls or something like that. I like doing that with her.
I know that he's been, involved with the Classroom Without Borders for quite a while, so that's pretty cool.
I want to congratulate him too. I think he did a good job, and I want to thank him for being my grandpa.
Hi, I'm Ruth Maffa, Executive Director of Development at Brandeis University, and it's an honor and a pleasure to say a few words about my friend Bob Mallet. I'm going to answer some of the questions that were prompted. The first, Bob's favorite hangouts, the classroom and his farm. Second, notable qualities, his generosity, his love of teaching, his love of learning. And to respond to the love of teaching, last week when he was at Brandeis, after class, he went over and he took a student, and he was trying to explain the importance of having the right top on the right recycling bin. And I think the student really appreciated that. It made a lot of noise, but it still had a big impact. And finally, what would Bob take to a desert island? An empty OJ container, Tony, his animals, and I think a pack of gum. Thank you. Congratulations, Bob.
So my name's Mark Alo, and I've been a friend of Bob's for probably over 35 years. I met him at the YPO, Young Presidents Organization. Unfortunately, Bob, neither one of us are young anymore, but you're a little younger than me. We were in YPO Forum. Our wives have been friends for a number of years. I've been invited out to his horse farm, and we've had a great time with Bob and Tony and Elizabeth the mule. And we want to go to the next question? Let's see. Oh, recall a unique, memorable experience that I've had with Bob. This is easy. We were at a YPO forum retreat in New Orleans. And we were fortunate enough to have an airplane that Dina and I flew at that time. And on our way home, we stopped in Saxon, Missouri. Now, nobody knows where Saxon, Missouri is, but it's this little town where there's a cafe called Lambert's Cafe. And if you have ever seen anything about Lambert's Cafe, they take the dinner rolls out and they actually throw them to the customers. It's a 600-seat restaurant, and we're there. We have Bob and this whole crew of people and Dina. First time Bob was ever there, and I think the rest of our YPO forum were first time we were there. Dina and I had been there a few times. So we sit down, and they serve our dinner, and then all of a sudden Bob spots this guy that has a mule hat on, sitting next to us, right over here. And he started to talk to the guy. He didn't want to talk to us. He's talking to this guy. Next thing I know, Bob is trading his hat with this fellow. Plus, we're catching the dinner rolls. We're having dinner. We're having a great time. And it just shows you that Bob is just a one-man party. And it was really exciting. Now, another thing about this trip, which was really interesting, we're in New Orleans, and in the back of the airplane, he ended up with a case of pickles from somewhere, and I have no idea where he got the pickles from, and a sledgehammer. Now, normally we wouldn't let anybody on the airplane with a sledgehammer, so we had to put that in the baggage compartment also, with the pickles. So let's go to the next question. What do I love about Bob? Well, Bob is an interesting guy. He's in some ways an acquired taste. But that's probably fitting to his long-term business of being in the baking industry. Very inventive, very entrepreneurial. And one of the things I really admire about him is his philanthropy and his charity. Not only does he do something for this group, but he's also at Duquesne University, a trustee there. He teaches at Brandeis University. He brings these young kids that are just starting to learn about business, and he guides them. I was very impressed about Bob also. He gave a commencement speech at Duquesne University, and a number of our forum members went to that, and it was really interesting, the insights that he gave at that. I think it was the fall commencement, if I remember correctly. And that's what I love about Bob. Well, we already had the memorable experience. Who would Bob take to a desert island? Well, probably Tony, and probably Elizabeth the mule. Now, I've met Elizabeth, and what an interesting animal, and probably is the only person I know that has a mule. Also, he has a number of other horses, and he is an equestrian, a horseman, so is Tony. And I think there's this love affair that, I think there's a love affair between Bob and Elizabeth. And I don't know what that's all about, don't want to know, but it's an interesting relationship that he has with Elizabeth. What is Bob's favorite hangout? Well, I know that he loves this place up in Somerset County, or actually I guess it's Westmoreland County, but it's right on the border. He also comes into Pittsburgh, and he graces us every so often with an appearance at our home And occasionally Tony, Bob, and I and Dina will have dinner. And those are always exciting because he has a different perspective of how life really works. And his views are thought out well, and also not only thought out well, but just a different perspective on how life is lived. And let's see what else we have. What is Bob's superpower, hidden talent? Well, anybody that can train a mule has to have some kind of talent. And I think that talent switches from his relationship with his friends, back to Elizabeth, back to his students at school, and then his ability to perceive the needs of people. I was very taken back. I guess he was in Israel with a number of Pittsburghers, prominent Pittsburghers, and I count Bob as being one of them. And he was there with Zippy. And I guess he contributed to buy an ambulance for a community there. And wasn't asked, but he just did it out of the goodness of his heart. And it was just a spontaneous thing. And one of the things about Bob is he's very spontaneous in a lot of different ways, much to be admired. And what is Bob's, wait a minute. Oh, that's superpower. We did superpower and hidden talent. What about Bob's most notable quality? I think he's a real human being. You know, you meet a lot of people in this life that, I guess, some people think you're famous for 15 seconds. Well, Bob is famous for his whole lifetime. He is just a super good guy. And he'd give you the shirt off his back. And he would be the kind of person that you would want to have to be there in case you had a problem. He'd stand right behind you, or maybe stand right in front of you too. But just Bob, I can't say too much about Bob. He's just such a great guy. And congratulations, Bob, on this award. It's well deserved, and I'm looking forward to being with you this evening.
Dear Bob, in life, there are many people who brag a lot and do very little. There are many other people who brag a lot and do some things. You do a lot, but you hardly ever brag about it. I'm so happy to consider you a friend, and I wish you all the best. Congratulations, you deserve much more than being honored today.
On behalf of Classrooms Without Borders, I'm Ellen Resnick, the Educational Programs and Outreach Manager at Classrooms Without Borders. I'm here with my colleagues.
Jackie Goldblum, I am the Seminars Manager at Classrooms Without Borders. Erica Fox-Zabusky, I'm the Operations Manager.
Together, we would very much like to congratulate Bob Mallet on this outstanding award. He has been an unwavering supporter of Classrooms Without Borders throughout the years. We are very thankful for everything that he has done for Classrooms Without Borders.
For all of us. He is a change maker, but a change maker is a risk taker. And he is the first one to get up and get everybody to dance. So he'll go out there on the floor himself as a change maker, leading the charge.
He also has a wicked sense of humor, and you might not always tell, but he's got that impish grin, which means you know he's making a joke about something.
Mazel tov, Bob!
Good evening. Mazel tov, Bob, on your honor. I am a fellow member trustee and a member of the board of directors of CWB with Bob. Bob's energy, commitment, passion have made CWB go far beyond the stars. He is someone who sets missions and visions and sets guides for all of us to follow. Bob was the first one who started an endowment for CWB. And also, if you look at our logo and see our words, open minds, open hearts, this came all from Bob. It was his idea, and this is his legacy to us at CWB. When I was young, I was always taught that if you can, leave a piece of yourself for others to look back upon. And Bob, you have done just that. Thank you so much, again, for your energy, your time, your passion, and for your hard work. And you are so well deserving of this honor. Thank you.
Hi, Bob. Joe DeCrosta here from the Center for Global Engagement at Duquesne University. I just want to say thank you. Thank you for everything that you've done for our faculty and students in the last few years. Although we don't know each other very well, I was very impacted by the story that you tell about how Classrooms Without Borders have really changed your perspective and your life as a Jewish American from Pittsburgh. And now you're taking that experience and really making it a possibility and an opportunity for our students and faculty to learn more about the Holocaust, to learn about these atrocities, and to learn about how we can make this world better in the best way possible. So thank you, thank you, thank you, and congratulations on your recognition at this event. I look forward to working with you into the future and educating our students and our peers about these events.
Hi, I'm John Mitchum. I'm the chair of the History Department at Duquesne University, and in the summer of 2023, I participated in the Poland trip. This was a type of opportunity that only comes along, I think, once in a lifetime. My specialization is in modern European history. I've got lots of graduate educational experience in dealing with the Holocaust, but this was the kind of trip that really brings home the reality of being there, of being at places like Auschwitz, being at places like Treblinka. I think I'm in a bit of an interesting position in that, unlike most of the teachers that participated in this trip, my job is to come back and teach individuals who are going to go on to be teachers. And so one of the real takeaways in the impact on me as an educator was thinking not just about the way that I teach the Holocaust and that I teach the elements of humanity that comes across in this, but also thinking about the ways that all of these individuals that are in my classrooms now at Duquesne will in a few years' time be teaching this subject, potentially even be teaching my own daughter. And so this trip really forced me to rethink the ways that I teach this subject in a way that's not just about learning materials, but forcing potential future educators to think about the ways that they'll teach that. And I think that that's one of the real important parts of Mr. Mallet's investment in this trip, is that this is not just like building a building or endowing a scholarship, but it's really building a foundation for the future, building a ways in which we can educate our future teachers. And so we're very, very appreciative of the opportunity that was provided. I want to congratulate Bob Mallet on his well-deserved Difference Maker Award. His contributions to our program will pay dividends years and years and years down the road. So congratulations, Bob, and thank you for your support.
Hi, I'm Christine Blair, Dean of the McAnulty College and Graduate School of Liberal Arts here at Duquesne University. I'm really delighted to be with you all this evening to celebrate Bob Mallet's achievements and honor his generosity and commitment to Classrooms Without Borders in particular. I was a 2022 recipient of Bob's generosity, and that allowed me to participate in the Poland personally trip. I think our understanding, my understanding certainly, of the Holocaust comes from important readings, videos, and images, but that is no comparison to living that experience personally with a survivor, and to find yourself experiencing the Holocaust from a sensory standpoint, visiting death camps, understanding and sometimes not understanding how the trauma of that experience will affect you in emotional ways and beyond. I feel honored to have been able to participate and to bring that back to Duquesne in encouraging the same commitment for other faculty who have since participated beyond 2022. We've been developing events, curriculum, proposals for an emphasis on Jewish history in our college, and always to understand the importance of the Holocaust in all that we do in promoting social justice and fighting genocide around the world.
I want to join my voice with the chorus of those who are going to praise Bob Mallet as he's being honored with being the Difference Maker of the Year. I try to teach my students that one person can make a difference, and that one person must make a difference. And that person is the person that you look at in the mirror every morning, when you shave, when you brush your teeth. And Bob Mallet is one such person. So congratulations. I'm sorry I will not be with you as you're being honored, but you have made a difference, and that's significant.
Hi, I am Katie Grady, the Dean of the Brandeis International Business School. Bob Mallet is an amazing person who has contributed tremendously to both Brandeis and to the business school. He is an active member of our Board of Advisors, and he regularly teaches in our undergraduate business program with very high reviews by the students. Bob, congratulations on the Classroom Without Borders Difference Maker Award.
Dear Bob, you have a huge heart. When help was needed, you jumped right in. You showed how much you really care for our country and for our soldiers. We really appreciate what you did for them.
Bob, Israel is your home, and we can't wait for you to come back for a visit so we can go diving together again. We send you
our love and a big Mazal Tov.
Hi, my name is Jonty Blackman, and I know Bob from a few places, but we first met in Poland on one of the trips of CWB. And then during COVID, when all of us were kept in home, Bob and I had a weekly meeting, a weekly Zoom meet where we would learn together all sorts of different issues about Judaism, talk about life. I learned a fortune from him. I hope he learned a little bit from me as well. But one thing for sure, we always shared incredible stories about our lives and what we're going through and where we've come from. And it was beautiful, the connection that we made through that as well. The one superpower that Bob has is his huge heart, which he takes everywhere he goes and opens his heart to so many people. And the scuba diving that he likes to do in all sorts of different places, and the horses that he takes care of with so many different ways. And the feeling that he has for each and every horse that he takes care of speaks volumes about his heart and how he cares for people. So I just want to wish him, Bob, a big Mazal Tov. Huge congratulations. Great honor. Wonderful to have met you. Wonderful to be your friend, and look forward to many years that we're able to keep up the friendship. Look forward to seeing you soon. Amen and Mazal Tov.
Dear Bob, Mazal Tov on being honored for the CW Difference Maker Award this year. On behalf of the village staff and children, I want to say thank you for the many years you have supported the village. You are a true friend of the village. 2 years ago, you visited the village and donated a van with Jimmy and Rob. You met the children that you love so much and visited in the Mishpachtonim. Remember that you are part of the Carmiel Children Village family, and the kids can't wait to see you again. Mazel Tov and big hug from all of us.
Hi, my name is Philippe Wells. I'm the Ain Family Professor of the Practice in Entrepreneurship here at the Brandeis International Business School. I've known Bob for several years now. We go back actually quite a way, and he's been a guest speaker in my class over these past few years. We've also gotten to know each other on a more personal basis. And on that note, I'm going to answer a couple of questions that I got about Bob. So the first one is, what is Bob's superpower or hidden talent? I would say pretty straightforward for me, driving a backhoe. Who would Bob take with him to a desert island? You know what? I actually misread that question. I thought, what would Bob take with him to a desert island? And I immediately thought, backhoe. Maybe scuba gear, but I think scuba gear would be second. What is Bob's favorite hangout? Pretty sure that's the farm. What is Bob's most notable quality? I think that's his ability to strike up a conversation with anyone, whether it's in English or any other language. And recall a unique, memorable experience I've had with Bob. I think every moment I share with Bob is memorable. I love having him in my class. He's a wonderful guest speaker and just a great all-around person. So thank you, Bob, for everything you do.
Hi, Bob, it's Jimmy. Congratulations, Mazel Tov for today. It's a special time to honor you that's very well deserved. Your generosity goes beyond measure, and you do so many things for so many people, and you've been doing it for so long. So for that, congratulations and thank you. Thank you. I have been a friend of yours for, I can't remember how long ago it's been, but it's been decades. And in that time span, we've discussed and done and shared so many times and important moments in our lives that I will forever be grateful for that. Your friendship to me has been impactful in my life in a very positive way. And I've enjoyed all the times we've spent together for all those years. I look forward to continuing that friendship and spending more times together. But for now, I just want to tell you that I am very proud to be your friend. I'm very proud of all your accomplishments, and I'm honored to be able to take a second to tell you that one more time. So Mazel Tov, congratulations. I love you. All the best.
Mazel Tov, my dear friend Bob, on your honor tonight. May God bless you, that your curiosity to learn more about Judaism, your care for another, your kindness to all, and your concern for Israel continue to grow. And may you continue to be a source of inspiration for the entire Jewish community for many more years.